not surprised this happened. We'll be in just a second, so stay a bit. We've had a number of championships go down to the Japanese Grand Prix, and well, this is going to happen. It could be a championship deciding race. We'll see how it pans out here. Welcome along to Breakout Racing League's Tier 3 Championship. We've arrived at the Japanese Grand Prix here in Suzuka. Now, Suzuka, you've got a total of 18 corners that make up this very historic track and one DRS zone, which is down the main straight right here, as you can clearly see. And well, despite that being the only DRS zone, there has been plenty of action here in Suzuka. If you guys remember, down to turn 1 and turn 2, Leclerc and Verstappen having a bit of a battle off the start, and Verstappen went straight off at turn 2, and well, that didn't end well for the Red Bull, as he unfortunately had to retire at the end of the race due to the damage. We've also had a bit of craziness, I guess you could say, down at Spoon Curve, turn 13, where Vettel and Verstappen going at it. Vettel trying to make the move on Verstappen, and unfortunately that didn't work out. We'll see if that happens. Hopefully not, but hopefully I'm not jinxing that. And we've also had action over at the final chicane, turn 16 and 17, where if you guys remember, a very infamous Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost in a title-deciding race collided, and with that, both drivers were out. Well, not Senna, but he got disqualified, which gave Prost the championship, I believe. If someone could fact-check me on that, that would be absolutely lovely. But a lot of things can happen here. And, well, it has happened to Breakout Racing League. It's not a surprise. Euro's here as Miniko, and once again, we are treated to what could be a very interesting race. And not only is it just interesting due to the fact of what the track is, but it's also interesting in the fact that it could be a championship deciding race. Gary, the leader of the Drivers' Championship, currently leads with 96 points. If he walks away with a 105-point gap to second place, Gary can be your Tier 3 Drivers' Champion, and he win it with 4 rounds left on the calendar. If that doesn't say dominance, I don't know what was. So what he needs to do, in which there's only 3, maybe 4 drivers that are within contention of the title, at least as it stands at the moment mathematically. So we'll quickly go over to 4th place, which is Yortster, which Yortster actually isn't here, so scratch that. So Yortster not here, and that is going to be him out of the championship for sure. Stig, in the Red Bull, he has to make sure that Stig does not outscore him by 2 points if Gary wants to take this championship. And then, of course, the closest to him in this championship, that being the AlphaTauri of One Underdog. One Underdog has to be sure he doesn't get outscored by Gary by a total of 9 points. 9 points could make the difference between Gary winning the championship here in Suzuka and Underdog keeping it within contention only just. That is what its factor. That is what the factor is here at the Japanese Grand Prix. And well, we've seen titles come down here at the Japanese Grand Prix. Sebastian Vettel, Max Verstappen, and of course Alain Prost, Ayrton Senna, Michael Schumacher. We've had a number of historic names that have taken a title here at here in Suzuka. It could very well happen. Can it be Gary? Can he take it? Or is he going to have to wait until the United States Grand Prix? There's only one way to find out. And, well, he's got to make sure he positions himself absolutely perfectly. And we're also do that then to start on pole position, in which Gary does not have a pole position. That's right. Gary still doesn't have a pole. It's surprising that I'm saying that, but he doesn't. So Gary has a bit of work to do. If he, he doesn't really have that much work, but, like, if he wants to grab pole, right now he has to beat a 129.9, and, well, he has to do the one thing that he hasn't been able to do all season. As he's coming around the final couple of corners is the Mercedes. Not entirely the cleanest of laps, as it shows at the moment, but where has he put that Mercedes? P5's the stands at the moment. And he's 2.2 off of that. Yeah, off of that. The pole time. Words seem to be failing me once again. So Gary currently in 5th. We've already had a retirement here from the Japanese Grand Prix qualifying session. Quick Tongue crashed out at the S's, and that was his qualifying done and dusted. He will start at best 7th. But there's still a number of drivers that have yet to set a lap time, that being, of course, Stig, in which Stig has to put on a lap that is good enough to challenge if he wants to stay within championship contention. He needs to outscore Gary by 2 if he mathematically wants to be in. It's going to be a long, long shot, though, if the Red Bull can do it. Can he do it? Well, that is down to him. It's simply all it is, as we are going to go on a lap, on board, with the Red Bull. Let's take us on for a tour around the Japanese Grand Prix in Suzuka. DRS wide open, blasting down the main straight, which could be a very neat overtaking opportunity down into turn 1, so-called the first turn, which quickly turns into turn 2. Make sure he gets the exit absolutely perfectly, and he does quite nicely. Then it's 2, turns 3, 4, going around in 5, 6. Very, very quick. It comes at you almost instantly. Going through the turn 7 through Dunlop curve. Getting a bit on that curb, and he manages to keep the car in check. What's the sector time saying? It's purple at the moment. And now going through to the Degna curves. And And, well, he's negotiated that now through to the hairpin. One of the biggest traction zones, first gear. And then quickly on the power to take you through over to Spoon Curve. A very historic name, I guess you could say, and a historic couple of corners of turn 13 and turn 14, getting nicely on that curb, and then having to run it wide down this very, very long straight. No DRS here because, well, it's a flat corner that they're quickly approaching to, which is the one, the only 130R, easily flat in these conditions. And, well, there was no trouble in that whatsoever. Purple Sector 2 for the Red Bull. Now going through the final chicane. He has a yellow flag in Sector 1. That is a Mercedes. Not sure of which Mercedes, but that's not what they would have wanted. Stig comes across the line, and it's good enough to put that Red Bull up into P2 with a 130.1. So Stig putting himself near the top once again as Kieran now goes on to provisional pole with a 129.8. Just about over a 10th ahead of Koenigsegg in the Aston Martin. And, well, if you guys saw the Brazilian Grand Prix that just happened before, well, we have a hot on pole right now. If you guys didn't see it, Kevin Magnussen is on pole position for the British Grand Prix. British? What? No. Sorry. The Brazilian Grand Prix. You heard that right. Kevin Magnussen on pole in a Haas at the Brazilian Grand Prix. How did he do it? Well, he timed it perfectly. That was simply all it is. The rain came down, and it washed away any other chance of people trying to take pole position. And, well, Kevin, in his 100th race start for Haas, his 140th Grand Prix, pole. Ain't that something? Historic day for Haas. Historic for Magnussen. And, well, we'll see what he can do in the sprint. But also, we'll see what Kieran can do in the Japanese Grand Prix. Let's look over the chat, because I haven't really looked at it. And, Yordster, where are you, Yordster? Where are you at, man? Because I know you're not able to race, but I'm just... You're clearly here in the chat, but, like, where are you, man? As a Railway Killer Act has been disqualified for going the wrong way. Look over at that. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to grab him, but it looks like he's had a moment at turns 1 and 2. So Raven Killer Act disqualified for going the wrong way. That is his qualifying done. He will start 13th, no matter what. Not what the Alpine wanted. And you're in Quebec. Oh, you're here in Canada, I see. Well, welcome to my home country, I guess. Obviously, Quebec being the only French province of Canada, so, bet you're seeing quite a lot of French. It's Koenigsegg, by the way, 3/10 up already through the first sector. The Aston Martin really liking the conditions here. Going through the hairpin and making his way over to Spoon Curve. So the Aston Martin looking on a pretty good lap right now. Let's see if he's able to keep it going. Getting a bit on the grass, but that's not going to affect him at all. Brilliant turn in through the Spoon Curve and great exit as well. 6th gear exit. Actually interesting. That's actually pretty interesting from the Aston Martin. Usually that's not a gear you'd see. He's lost a bit of time though. Through Sector 2. Has he overheated his tires a little bit? Could he be not having the grip that he had before? Whatever the issue is, not what he wanted, but coming around the final corner, can he go up under provisional pole? Yes, he does! Koenigsegg on provisional pole once again with a 1:29.7. Bilingual in French. That explains it. Well, kudos to you. I tried learning French. That didn't work out. Well, it worked out a tiny bit, not really, but yeah. You're saying Zig, Kieran, and Gary for a podium. Well, saying Gary on a podium is, that's a pretty safe option, I guess you could say. And, well, Zig, Kieran, well, they're both first and second as it stands at the moment, so they could very well do that. But the question is, though, if you're saying Gary's going to get the podium, where would you think Underdog would finish? Because that is really his main championship rival. I want to know that. Where do you think Underdog would finish if Gary is gonna be on the podium? I would say minimum 3rd. Let's say Gary's 3rd. Where do you think Underdog would finish? Let me know. It's going through. I think Echo is about to be starting a lap. Stig will crash. Underdog will be top 5. Well, if Gary's minimum 3rd and Underdog will be in the top 5, that means the championship will go down to the United States Grand Prix. I don't know if you caught it, but I'll quickly say it again. Remember, Gary has to outscore Underdog by 9 points to take the championship here in the Japanese Grand Prix. 9 points. That is the difference. And then he has to worry about Stig not outscoring him by 2 points. So, Gary has a little bit of weight on his shoulder. Can he do it? Can he take the championship? It'll be a second Tier 3 championship. Which is quite something to say. Usually you win the first. You don't usually see someone win a second, but here we are. Gary could very well do it. He can very well do it. Beauty, you'll be there. you want to see a championship fight between the top 2 at the United States Grand Prix. I think we would all want that. But well, can't always get what you wish for. As we're now approaching the end of, nearing the end of qualifying, just 2 minutes left on the timer. And well, so far, the only driver that hasn't set a lap time has been one underdog in the Alpha Tauri, the championship hopeful for Tier 3. He's on an outlap now, so he will definitely get a lap time in. The question is, though, where can he start this Grand Prix? We'll have to find out, as Stig is going to be the first one to come across the line, I think. Actually, no, he just finished the lap. He went up to P3. So I think it's Stead. Is it Gary? Or is it Echo? It's going to be Echo that's going to be setting the first couple of laps. So we have yellow flag through Sector 3. And I believe that is the Alfa Romeo of Redeemer. Indeed it is. Underdog always seems to set a lap time at the end. Yeah, he usually does. He doesn't really participate much in qualifying. Possibly that's to not distract him. I don't know. Well, I mean, distract him? Well, maybe he's more prepared for the race than qualifying. I don't know. So we're going to stay with Echo through the rest of this lap. The other Mercedes, this Mercedes has taken a pole position in relation to his teammate. How crazy is that to say? Gary's teammate has a pole position, but Gary doesn't, and Gary's the championship leader. And Echo is, I believe, 7th in the championship. So, kind of interesting how that works. And interestingly, when Echo took that pole position, Gary was 2nd place, so he could have had it. But Echo was just a little bit fractionally quicker. Speaking of fractionally quicker, Echo just over 600 up on his lap time. He has all to do through Sector 3. There's a Red Bull, though. Red Bull, though, gets out of the way. And the Mercedes going to be the first one to come across the line. What do the timing sheets say? Good enough to put himself up into P5. Does the Mercedes? What of Gary, though? Where does he put that? Where does he put the Mercedes? Just ahead of Echo. And what about Gert? Does Gert have anything to say? He goes up to 5th, puts Gary down into 7th. So Alfa Romeo, 4th and 5th at the moment. Mercedes, 6th and 7th will go with Iceman in the Ferrari, currently sitting in 10th. Can he improve that position? He has to find around 3/10 if he wants to go up any further. Does he find it? Indeed he does. He moves himself up into P8, pushes the coach down to 9th, quick time down to 10th. Frizy abandons his lap, so he's not able to do anything. What about of Underdog? Can he set a good enough lap to be ahead of his rival? No. P8 for the Alpha Tauri. Kieran abandons his lap. He's not going to improve. Frizy has retired. That's in the pits. The coach comes across the line. Doesn't improve on his position. He will start P10. With that, I believe that's going to be qualifying over. Koenigsegg in the Aston Martin. It's going to come around the final corner. Didn't need to do the lap. He's going to do it anyways. And goes even faster with a 129.6. Koenigsegg is on pole for the Japanese Grand Prix. His 2nd pole position of the season. Kieran in the Haas, who also has a pole position to his name, 3 to be exact, not able to do it. He will start 2nd. Stig will start 3rd, just ahead of Redeemer. And no, those two on the 2nd row, that's going to be rather tasty, I think. Gert will be in 5th, the championship leader, starting 6th. And if Gary and Underdog stay exactly where they are, Gary will not win the championship. 2 purple sectors and still 3/10 off. Well, you can't exactly trust the timing sheets on that. You can't trust it. Koenigsegg, though, once again, grabbing another pole. The Aston Martin has always shown to be very quick here in Tier 3, and he's done exactly that. Only 2 drivers in the 29s, by the way. How crazy is that? And well, the 2 drivers that are in the 29s, interestingly, were the only 2, are the 2 on the front row. Koenigsegg ahead of Kieran. Stig will line up in 3rd, ahead of Redeemer. Gert in 5th, just ahead of Gary. and Gary just ahead of his teammates. So it's Alfa Romeo, Mercedes, and an AlphaTauri not too far behind of one underdog. Iceman in 9th, didn't exactly get the best of laps. He will start in the top 10 though. Same with the coach. Quick Tongue unable to participate through the rest of qualifying after crashing. Frizy unable to improve his lap time. He actually did that lap on the hards, interestingly. And Arabian Killer unfortunately getting disqualified from the Japanese Grand Prix in qualifying, at least, not in the race. He's not been disqualified there, so he'll still be here in the race. And I did not get a weather report. There's your weather. Oh, we're in for a treat. Rain here in Suzuka. Don't this feel familiar? Rain in Suzuka? You know where it was also raining in Suzuka? Max Verstappen this year when he took the championship. Is that a sign? I don't know. But if the signs are appearing, then Gary could be well on to win the championship. Let's hope I didn't jinx it. So just looking over at the conditions and looking over to the race director. Never mind. There we go. It's going to be Inter tires for the start of this Grand Prix. It's not full wet conditions, as you can clearly see. It's not wet enough for it to be extreme wets. So everyone's going to be starting on the Inter tire. And I don't know if many drivers were prepared for this. If they were, then they could be looking rather nice for this race. But if they weren't, then they're in for a treat. I'll just say that. I believe the last time we had an actual wet race, if it will tell me, last time we had a wet race, if I'm not mistaken, was all the way back in... Actually, I don't know if we've had a rain-affected race as of late. I'm not sure. If there has been, prove me wrong, but I don't remember. I'll quickly look. So Bahrain and Saudi Arabia obviously haven't. At least I don't think Saudi Arabia has. Nope. Australia? No. Not Imola. And not Baku. I don't think that... No, it doesn't look like there has been. Interesting. So, this is the first time this season... Oh, wait, no, we did have a rain-affected something, at least. Dutch Grand Prix. It wasn't in the race, but it was in qualifying. But than that, it's mostly been dry running. So this is the first time we've actually had a race. Australia was wet? Let me check fastest laps on that. Well, you've proved me wrong. You have proved me wrong. Australia was indeed wet. I'm just seeing the fastest laps and all that. It was, okay. So I am wrong on that. Good thing you know. It's been a bit of a long season. Obviously, Australia was 10 rounds away, so I can exactly remember that. But there you go. Early on, well, it looked like it affected the entire race by the looks of it. I think it affected the entire race. Because nobody set a interesting, like a good fast lap. It was like a 29 or 28 fastest lap. So it was early in the season. Yeah, okay. Hence why I don't remember it. Well, this is the first time since the Australian Grand Prix, then, that we are going to have a rain-affected race. And with that, we're now going to go underway for the formation lap, and it is Koenigsegg in the Aston Martin that will lead us away for this formation lap around the historic Japanese Grand Prix. Pit stops aren't really affected this much. Obviously, you can go the entire race on a set of inters or a set of wets, but, well, safety cars, that's always the thing. There's always a safety car in the Japanese Grand Prix in one way or another. Not every race, but a good amount. Can it happen? Probably. We'll have to see. But it will definitely change up strategies, because if you're on a fresh set of inters, that is going to play a factor. And there you go. The predicted pit stop strategy should be a one-stop or potentially a two-stop. I think we would see easily some one-stops. If someone does the no-stop, then I'm going to be impressed, because I don't think these inters can last all 27 laps of this race. So, if someone can do it, then kudos. But also the question is whether the rain gets worse or there is no rain at all in the later stages. So, they're going to be looking at the clouds, they're going to be looking at the conditions and thinking, when do you pit? Do you pit for inters? Do you pit for wets? Do you pit for more dries? What is the situation? Looking at the clouds now and not really seeing any blue skies at the moment. So, it's going to probably be a while until we see even a speck of dry. We're nearing the end of this formation lap, and we've already had 2 disqualifications of the coach and Iceman running into each other on the formation lap. That'll obviously not affect them in the race. That might affect their starting position a little, because obviously you can line yourself up in this game. And that is what everyone is going to do. And it's going to be Koenigsegg on pole position, Kieran on the front row. But the main people we're watching for here, Gary and Underdog. Gary starting 6th, Underdog starting 8th. He has to outscore Underdog by 9 points if he wants to take the championship here in Suzuka. So he's going to be looking at that AlphaTauri, thinking of where that position is. Underdog has to be... He wants to outscore Underdog. That is going to be the task. What is going to happen in these 27 laps? We're underway, I believe, for the 5 red lights. It's lights out, and away we go. A tentative start for everybody, but it looks like Koenigsegg gets a very good start. He's already clear into turn 1, ahead of Kieran, ahead of Stig, I believe. It looks like Gary might be giving a bit of a charge. Actually, he has, as Stig is already falling down into 6th. But it's Koenigsegg from Kieran, from Gary. Gary having a brilliant start once again. He's done it. The Mercedes has done it once more. He's moved himself back up into the top 3 from Redeemer, from Gert, from Stig. And then comes Echo, Underdog, Iceman, Quicktongue, the coach, Frizy, and Arabian Killarak. Bit of a calm start, though. Everybody getting off the line neatly. Doesn't look like there has been any major contact for everybody, as Stig is getting a little bit loose there off the exit of turn 8, and that might give Echo a bit of encouragement as we see a little bit of switching further back between the coach and Frisbee, as Underdog could be looking for a move on Echo. Doesn't think anything of it, but he needs to make this move. But he actually gets really good traction at the hairpin, but it's not enough. That AlphaTauri is going to have to stay behind that Mercedes for just a little bit longer. Echo getting a little squirrely, though, through the curve, and now going into Spoon. Can Underdog make the move? He has made the move, and Underdog puts himself up into 7th place, and Echo down into 8th, but he still has to make up more positions if he wants to make more of a challenge. Echo, though, is trying to fight back on the AlphaTauri. Can he do it? Can he launch a move into 130R? He backs out of it. He's going to stay behind for a little bit longer. I think this might be what Gary wants. Echo and Underdog, his teammate and his rival, battling it out for 7th. I think that's exactly what he wants to have happen, as Koenigsegg sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix with a 1:45.3. 4/10 between him and Kieran, and Gary not too far behind on those guys as well. Top 3 separated by just under a second, actually. Pretty calm starts. We actually have a little bit of a delta issue going on between Stig and Underdog right now, as it says Stig is a minute 44 ahead of Gert. That's obviously not true. Stig is clearly behind Gert, as you can see at the moment, and Underdog is right on the back of Stig. So Stig looking to be struggling a little bit in these conditions, and that's not what he wants. He gets a snap oversteer through the curve, but he's able to keep the car in check, stay ahead. Underdog closing in on the back of that Red Bull as Stig once again getting squirrely on that curb. As well, if you guys haven't seen it before, if you get on that curb, you're going round, basically. So now everybody's starting to spread out a little bit. Koenigsegg and Kieran starting to pull away from Gary. Gary also is trying to pull away from Redeemer, and Redeemer's got a bit of a gap between himself and Stig at the moment, as Gert is starting to struggle, I think, going through Spoon. He's got mirrors full of a Red Bull all behind him at the moment, and we're going to look on board. You can see a little bit of spray kicking off of the back of that Alfa Romeo, but he can clearly see the Red Bull of Stig behind him going through to 130R, and it looks like, ooh, bit of a snap from Stig. He's able to keep the car in check as he's trying to potentially look for a move on Gert, as Gert not entirely getting the exit that he wants. Kieran now sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix with a 143.0, and now, well, Gert might be under pressure here from Stig, and Stig is going to be under pressure from Underdog. Underdog not going to be able to make moves. Neither does Stig. Neither does Underdog. And, well, what doesn't help them in this situation, as actually Gert goes wide, and that's going to allow Stig to have a look on the inside, and now going around the outside into turn 3. Then quickly on the inside, there's a bit of contact between them. Gert able to keep the car in check, more contact, but crucially, Gert able to keep that position. Stig unable to do anything in relation to getting ahead of that Alfa Romeo, but a bit of contact between the two. Luckily for them, though, neither one of them go off. Close as you want it, but not too close to be race ending. Though we have a yellow flag, and that is Arabian Killer Act that has gone round. And the struggles seem to be continuing for the Alpine, and now he's down in 13th and a long, long ways away from the rest of the pack. So everybody's starting to spread out a little bit. Once again, Koenigsegg putting a bit of a gap between himself and Kieran. Kieran putting a bit of a gap between himself and Gary, and then there's around 2.5 seconds between himself and Redeemer, and then Gert also 2 seconds behind as we have a yellow flag, and that's Gary! Gary, the championship leader! He's out of the race! For the first time this season, Gary will not just finish in the points, he will not see the checkered flag! The championship leader out of the Japanese Grand Prix at the end of lap 3. Well, the championship, in that case, will not be won here. The championship will not be won here in the Japanese Grand Prix. It will continue to the United States Grand Prix. And Underdog, seeing that, is probably now thinking, I still have a chance. Championship implications, and it has gone horribly wrong for the championship leader. His first DNF of the season, his first non-points finish of the season. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I'm dumbfounded. I never thought that was going to happen. Gary has been consistent this entire season. Never finished lower than 6. He's finished on the podium in 10 out of the 12 races that we've had. 6 wins to his name. And it's all unfolded. His first non-top 6 finish. His first non-points finish. His first DNF. I don't believe it. I do not believe it. Wow. I'm going to ask him what happened. I'm actually curious. As now the safety car is out on lap 5 of this Grand Prix. if Gary was going to wake up knowing that this was going to happen, I think he wanted to stay in bed a little bit longer. Not what the championship leader wanted here in the Japanese Grand Prix. And he said before, he said last week, that the Japanese Grand Prix has not been kind to him whatsoever. This track has not been kind to him. I think we just figured out how. As Yortzers just said, that Gary has become mortal. I guess you could say that. I bet Gary absolutely devastated, knowing that he could have won the championship. He would have won the championship if things stayed the way they are. Underdog was down in 7th. Gary was in 3rd. If my points are correct, 7th, you grab a total of 6 points. And 15 points for 3rd. That would have been the 9 points. That would have been... Oh. That would have been the 9 points if it stayed exactly the way they are. Oh, man. But now, that's completely flipped over from a 9-point advantage to now losing 12 points to Underdog as it stands at the moment. Obviously with Kieran pitting. Kieran managed to stay ahead of a Raven Killer, like a nice man, by the way. But now, Underdog, he knows his goal. His main rival, out of it. His second rival, Stig, the Red Bull. He's currently in 6th. Underdog is ahead of him and looked to be faster at the early stages. So, Underdog has that in check. He needs to maximize the points that he gets. Because if he maximizes, the pressure may be a little bit off. Maybe. And to answer your question, I believe it was Kieran, Arabian Killerak, and Iceman that pitted. Nope, it wasn't Arabian Killerak, so it was just Kieran and Iceman that pitted under the safety car. But wow. Championship implications. I didn't expect this to happen. Because I don't think... Does Underdog have a DNF? No. Underdog doesn't even have a DNF. So the top 2 have never DNF'd from the Japanese Grand Prix ever. I mean, not from the Japanese Grand Prix, but they've never DNF'd in the season ever. Underdog with the lowest finish of 10th, and Gary with his lowest finish being 6th. But now, Gary's lowest finish is going to be DNF, and Underdog, if it stays the way it is, if I look at it, Underdog is going to be the only driver, as it stands at the moment, to finish the race in the points in every single race. One Underdog has finished in the points every single race. From round 1 to round 12. Always in the points. And he's always here as well. And Underdog is most likely going to try and keep that record going. Because if he can do that, if he can do it through the entire season, 17 rounds, finishing in the points in every single round, that's that's amazing. That's the only word I have. It'd be simply amazing if Underdog could do it. We'll have to see. The safety car is going to be in on this lap. So now, it is Koenig's decision as to when this race will resume. Once he crosses the line, race resumes, and you can overtake. But Koenig is going to try and leave this either as late or soon as possible if he wants to win this race, and he's gone. Koenig has gone, and on lap 7 of this Japanese Grand Prix, we are underway once again. It's Koenig ahead of the 2 Alfa Romeos. It's Underdog, Echo, and Stig rounding out the top 6 as we have a bit of a switcheroo between 10th and 11th, as we also have 3rd and 4th going at it as Gert looked to be under pressure there from Underdog. Underdog unable to do anything though. on the Alfa Romeo. Underdog having to stay behind once a little bit longer. And, well, he's looking for that podium. That podium is right in front of him. As we have a yellow flag, and that is the Haas of Kieran. So Kieran, from pitting early, that has absolutely ruined it. What? He is on mediums. So Kieran trying to gamble for something. That clearly hasn't worked, as the rain looks to still be going. Oh no, I think it stopped raining. It has stopped raining. So now the rain has stopped, so now the question is, when do people pit? So as you can clearly see from Kieran, it is too early to go into the pits at this stage of the race, but the question is how long is it going to take for the track to dry? It could be 3 laps, it could be 4 laps, who knows? So they're going to have to wait this out and dry the track as much as possible, and Koenigsegg is trying to build a gap as much as he can to make sure that he doesn't get held up in the pit lane, I think is what he's trying to do. And right now, that seems to be working out. 1.2 seconds, but the gap between him and Redeemer and Koenigsegg also sets the fastest lap of this Grand Prix with a 142.0. He seems to be stretching his legs a little bit. Redeemer still in second, ahead of Gert, ahead of Underdog. Underdog staying on the back of the Alfa Romeo, not able to do anything, obviously, with the conditions being as they are. It's not easy to overtake, I can tell you firsthand. So Underdog having to just stay behind. There's a 5-second time play for Kieran, as he got that for corner cutting, and I'm not sure where that's come from. I think he cut the final chicane. Now he is 22 seconds off the next guy of Iceman, and while that's not what the man who started on the front row would have wanted for this race, as he's already a pit stop down from the rest of the pack. As that's Gert going a little bit wide, and that is Kieran out of the Grand Prix. Crashed to turn 4, and that is a second safety car on lap 8 of the Japanese Grand Prix. We've already got 2 safety cars, and we've only got, what, 3 laps of racing? Lovely. Lovely stuff. But now, the safety car out once again, this time for the Haas of Kieran. So Koenigsegg, once again, has to line up behind the safety car, and he knows the track conditions. He can see that they're getting better, but he can clearly say it is too early to pit. It is simply too early, so he's going to have to stay behind. As Kieran leaves the session, and actually Koenigsegg has decided to pit. So maybe he thinks that the track will dry enough to the point where they'll be able to pit. Does anyone follow suit, though, is the question. Nobody seems to be following suit. Nobody thinks that it is time to go on to a set of slicks. And, well, Koenigsegg has not only gone on to a set of slicks, he's gone on to the hardest compound of slicks, hard tires, for the Aston Martin. Bit of a gamble. Will this gamble pay off? Just looking on board of the Aston Martin, though, he's going very slow. Obviously with cold tires, and obviously lining up to the safety car. He's going quite slow. And, well, if that is the pace he's going to have on the hard compounded tires in these conditions, well, I think you want to get off those hards as soon as possible. So now, safety car out once again on lap 9 of this Grand Prix. And now, it is an Alfa Romeo 1-2. Redeemer leading this race now from Gert, from Underdog, from Echo. Stig rounding out the top 5. I didn't expect this top 5, but here we are. So the Alfa Romeo's currently leading this race. The safety car should be in by probably next lap. Koenigsegg trying to make his way closer, but he's actually losing time, so he clearly doesn't have confidence at this stage. And you can just, yeah, I think the hard, if I'm being perfectly honest here, I think the hard combat attire might not be the way to go. Because he's crawling. He is crawling around the track right now. He doesn't seem to be getting any temperature either. If he even tries to do a burnout, he's in the wall. So, yeah, this gamble may not pay off, though Echo thinks it might. Echo is actually thinking that this gamble might pay off, and he's gone straight into the pits. And nope, actually, I was wrong. He's just gone on to another set of enters. He's going to go on to a fresh set of enters. They'll probably go to the end of this race. So Echo deciding that, well, the enters are not going to last the entire race. And, well, this is a pretty safe option here from the Mercedes, because the track is too wet to do anything. And, well, he doesn't... Well, if the tire wear is too great, Echo could be on for something here. Maybe. Maybe. We'll have to see. He's all the way down in P11 now. Now everyone's starting to line up behind the safety car. Koenigsegg has caught up to the back of this pack, and, well, looking on board once again with the Aston Martin. The spray from Iceman looks to be too much right now. That spray is quite extreme. And, well, it took him a lap and a half to catch the safety car. Echo took half a lap. Looking now, I think the safety car should be in at the end of this lap. Lap 10. Lap 10, going on to lap 11. And there we go, safety car in this lap. And I think, for the first time this season, Redeemer is going to lead us away from first. Then it's Gert in second. Alfa Romeo leading this race as it stands at the moment. And, well... If you look at the two Alfa Romeos, it's like a little bit of a dance between them, because they know they're the top two positions. And when does Redeemer leave it? Where does he go? Oh, is that a bit of contact? I'm not entirely sure, but Underdogs actually dive straight into the pits, has the AlphaTauri. And, well, the race is now resumed on lap 11 of this Japanese Grand Prix. It's Redeemer from Gert, from Stig, from the coach, then, from Quick Tongue, then comes to coach. My apologies. As actually, the coach is going to be under pressure here from Arabian Killer, because he's looking for a move on the Red Bull. He's not able to do anything of it, though. Underdog has gone on to a set in the mediums. Frizy has gone on to a set of the hard compound attire. And Echo has immediately dispatched the Aston Martin and has moved himself up into 8th place. Ooh, bit of a moment there for the Mercedes as he's trying to look for a move. Not able to do anything of it, though, and that's actually going to allow Koenigsegg to close up a little bit on these guys. So watch out for 9th, 10th, and 11th in this race. Bit of a gamble. Oh, and that looks to be the coach going a bit off, as that cost him, and indeed it has, as he's now way off of Quick Tongue. Can be under pressure, and that is the Alpine straight into the wall. And that is going to be, oh my goodness, safety car number 3. Oh, man. We've had 13 runners and we're already down to 10. We're not even halfway through this Grand Prix. But now this begs the question. Do you pit? Now do you pit? The spray is gone. The spray is completely gone now. So, now everyone's going to be looking in the pit lane. And that's exactly what Redeemer's doing. Straight into the pits goes Redeemer. Straight into the pits goes Gert. It's going to be a double stack for the Alfa Romeos. And then Stig also in as well. Let's see what tires they all go on. Mediums for Stig. What's it going to be for the rest of them? Mediums for Redeemer in the double stack. There it is for Alfa Romeo. And that's going to cost them P2. At least one position at least. Excuse me. Gert onto a set of mediums. Iceman on a set of mediums. He's actually been held. Or has he? No, he hasn't. Never mind. Iceman on a set of mediums. Echo on a set of mediums. Underdog. He's going to come out just behind Gert. So Underdog, that gamble has not worked out. And now he's down. Oh, what? That is Redeemer. Redeemer has crashed under... My apologies. Redeemer has crashed out under safety car. So now, 4 retirements from the Japanese Grand Prix. And well, I think I know the answer that Redeemer is going to provide to me. And it's cold tires. Cold tires. That's simply what happened there. And, well, that is him out of the race. The coach didn't pit, by the way. I'm not sure why. He stayed out. And now he is behind the safety car, so he's going to lead a lap. He's going to lead a lap as the Red Bull. As weird as that is. He hasn't really had the best of seasons, needless to say, has the Red Bull. But now, leading a Grand Prix for the first time in his Tier 3 season. I believe for the first time ever, actually, in his BRL season, in his BRL career, I guess you could say. And, well, he's soaking it in, I think. He's soaking it in. He's definitely going to have to pit. The track just is now extremely dry. And there goes the Red Bull, straight into the pits. He's led a lap. He's happy. And there you go. Led lap 12. I think he can take that. And now he's going to be on a fresh set of medium compound tire. And Frizzy's also into the pits as well. He's gone straight into a set of mediums as well does the Ferrari. So Frizzy now down in P9 to coach, down in P8. And Koenigsegg, once again, like it was at the start of this race, leads the Grand Prix. But he is going to have quite a bit of pressure. Everyone behind him, from 2nd down to 6th, all on a set of the medium compound tire. Quick Tongue on a set of hards, 3-lap fresher hards in relation to Koenigsegg. The coach, Frizzy, fresh set. And that is what is at play. And we're gonna resume this race, most likely, on lap 14. So the end of lap 13 going into lap 14 is when the safety car is going to come in, and this race will resume once again. 3 safety cars in the first half. Let's just hope the second half doesn't have any safety cars, and we get to racing once again. And looking over at chat, hello, Daniel. Yes, BRL. That's what we're here for. We're here for BRL Tier 3. And, well, good to see that you're here and watching the show. We've already had 4 DNFs in this race. Championship leader, Gary, out of this race. That is the big story. His first DNF of the season, his first non-points finish of the season, and in a race where he could have won the championship. And it simply will not happen. Sorry you're late. Oh, no worries. At least you're here for the dry part. It was a bit of a... I wouldn't say dull inter part, but it was not the most exciting. But now we're going to get into some excitement. Safety car is in this lap. Koenigsegg, once again, lead the pack from to the line. And there you see the safety car coming into the pits. Koenigsegg, round in the final couple corners. He's going to leave this late, and he has left it late. Has he left it late enough? It doesn't look to be the case as the race is now resumed on lap 14 of this Grand Prix. And Stig is already looking for a move on the Aston Martin on the inside into turn 1. Is he going to make the move? Koenigsegg is trying to fight it, but it looks like the mediums might be a little bit too much. Koenigsegg still trying to fight it. By the time the exit of turn 2, Stig immediately capitalizing on that restart. And Stig takes the lead of the Japanese Grand Prix from Koenigsegg, from Gert, from Underdog, from Iceman. And Stig, once again, leads the Grand Prix, and he is going to try and build up as much of a gap as possible from everyone behind, as Gert is all over the back of Koenigsegg, and those hard compounded tires seem to not be working at this stage, as Quick-Tongue is also falling off in the pack as well. Japan is best track, no one can change your mind. Well, Japan is a very nice track. Is it the best track? Well, some people would be free to disagree. I personally really like the track. So, I'll agree with you on this one. You got work at 12:30, so you're lucky you can watch this, go to sleep, and still wake up at time. Well, fair enough, yeah. At least the commitment is there, and, well, I'm glad to see that. As Gert went a little bit wide there through Spoon, and that's gonna cost him a bit of time. It might put him under pressure from Underdog, though Gert, having pretty good straight line speed, actually, does the Alfa Romeo, gaining on the Aston Martin. As to whether that's a bit of battery at play, I'm not entirely sure, but closing up a bit, going down through 130R and into the chicane. Now, gap between first and second, 1.5. Stig has absolutely mastered this restart and now is leading the pack. Meanwhile, battle for P3 about to ensue as Underdog is looking for a move on the inside of Gert. Could that have been a bit of contact? Whatever it was, I highly doubt it, actually, as Underdog looked to be backing out and stays behind Gert, able to stay ahead of that AlphaTauri for just that little bit longer, but he knows he's under pressure. He needs to get ahead of this Aston Martin as soon as possible and grab another podium. Here he has a podium to his name, but he would dearly love to take it a second one. Right now he is lined up to be third, at least third. He would love to make it second. He goes a little bit wide, though, and that could be a track limit violation. If you get 3 of those, you get a 3-second time penalty. Once you get a 3-second time penalty, especially in this pack, you're basically done. So, Gert extending a little bit. Could that have been a little bit of understeer? Whatever it was, he's going to have to be really careful now. He's actually losing a little bit of time now in relation to the Aston Martin. And, well, once again, the championship hopeful of Underdog closing in onto the back of Gert at this stage of the race. Bureau Pay Racing League saying evening. Yes, good evening. You joined us once again for Tier 3, lap 15 of this race. Going on to lap 16, actually. So you joined at a more of an exciting time at this stage of the race. The Stig sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix with a 133.6. That Red Bull absolutely flying at this stage of the race, as DRS has now been enabled, but it's not available right now. It's going to be available very, very soon. This is looking at the moment. Underdog just trying to close in on the back of Gert. I think Koenigsegg has managed to get those hards ramped up, and now he is set. And now he's setting away from Gert as far as he gets a 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits. How long will mediums last here? At this stage, the entire race. The mediums are a pretty good race tire around here, and well, a lot of drivers putting it to good use. Interesting, one of my predictions. You can't predict Tier 3. I cannot put in a prediction purely because that's too risky. My prediction will be completely off at this stage of the race. Because Yordster actually said, he put in a prediction earlier, he said that Kieran, Koenigsegg, and Gary will be on the podium. Well, 2 out of 3 of those have DNF'd. Was that a bit of a curse there, Yordster? Whether it was or not, I'm sure you didn't mean it. Or maybe you did. I don't know. Underdog with the fastest Sector 2 of the Grand Prix. So Underdog looking pretty quick now at this stage of the race as he's closing in on the back of Gert, as Koenigsegg did set the fastest lap. That was quickly taken away by Gert in the Alfa Romeo 133.2 now. On lap 16, now lap 17 of this Grand Prix. So now, second, third, fourth are now going to try and start to slowly reel in that Red Bull ahead of them. And Stig pulling up a good enough gap. Is it good to keep them at bay and hold off to take the win here at the Japanese Grand Prix? We'll have to find out. As we have a yellow flag, and that is the Mercedes. That's Echo. Echo through the curve is completely gone round, and now Echo is down to 8th As we have another yellow flag, and that's Quick Tongue. That's Quick Tongue out of the race. The coach is off as well. And that is going to be a 4th safety car. So already 4 safety cars. That's already 4 safety cars in this race. Holy moly. Alright, well, that's happened. Safety car out once again on lap 17 of this Japanese Grand Prix. Oh damn, lots of spins. Yeah, you could easily say that. Quick Tongue having a moment, Quick Tongue having a big moment out of the race. The coach having a spin. Luckily, he's managed to keep the car in check. Luckily for him. I don't know if that was contact actually, because those two were pretty close on track. Whether it was or not, I don't know, but very interesting. Koenigsegg and Underdog opting to go into the pits, and both of them look to be looking on to a fresh set of medium compounded tire for both drivers. Those two making 2 stops in this race. Same with Frizy and Echo. Does Echo have a bit of damage, though? It doesn't look like he does, but I think those tires were absolutely shot. Damn, 4, do 6, then you beat my record. I don't think we have enough for 6. I don't want it to be 6. 4, in my opinion, when it comes to these types of races, 3 is enough. Maybe not even 3. Possibly even 2. You'd risk the soft strat. Well, you could, if you're near the bottom. Like, let's say Echo, Frizy, Underdog, Koenigsegg. The bottom 4 could definitely do it. The bottom 4 could definitely risk the soft strat and make it work. Because, like, what do they have to lose? They really don't have much to lose. The least they'll finish is P8, and that is 4 points. Not the most amount of points that you want, but still some pretty okay points. Damn, Stig mad, it seems. Maybe. He could be. I don't know what he's thinking, because he knows that the freshest mediums is technically, well, you could say P4, but that's his teammate, and he's had the edge over his teammate this entire season. And Koenigsegg, well, he's pitted. He's on a fresh set of mediums, and actually, you were talking about the soft strat. Well, Echo's done exactly that. So Echo going onto a set of the soft compound of tire, and now he is going to catch up behind them. Is he going to pit again, possibly go for an even fresher set? I don't know. Well, it looked like he was. No, he's not going to do it. And Frizy is actually going to go straight into the pits, and that is going to be a set of medium compound tire, fresh set of mediums for the Ferrari. And, well, now he's going to go easily to the end of this race. So 5th down to 8th are all on fresh sets. Echo opting to go onto a set of softs. Merc strategy team being Giga Chads like we are. Well, he's got nothing to lose. So now, the top 4 are on I guess an old set. They're not the oldest. I don't... Oh, are we good? I think we're good. Okay, I think we're good now. All right. Sorry for the interruption, but now the race has resumed once again, and Stig leads us away once again on lap 20 of the Japanese Grand Prix, and he leads it from Gert, from Iceman, from the coach, Koenigsegg. The lead medium runner has now got to get past the coach as soon as possible. Same with Underdog and Echo. Echo on the soft compound tire. He needs to work that out as quickly as he can. He needs those softs to work absolutely beautifully at this stage of the race. But Stig leads from Gert, from Iceman, from the coach. Then comes Koenigsegg, and Koenigsegg is going to be closing in, and he has closed in on the back of the coach, but he's not able to do anything as it stands at the moment. I'm sorry if I try and do something and it doesn't entirely work out. The controller I now have is not the best. So, just be a little bit patient, I guess you could say. Is Koenigsegg backing off a little bit there from the coach, and that might actually put him under pressure here from Underdog. As Underdog is trying to make a move on Koenigsegg as he wants to be the lead medium runner. He's not able to do anything yet, but he can see what is in front of him. He has a pretty good shot, a very good shot actually, of a podium. And actually, Koenigsegg is now looking for the move of the coach, and around the outside, a 130R. That was a bold move, but he's made it work. It's like Fernando Alonso, Michael Schumacher. And this time, it's Koenigsegg and the Aston Martin that takes it and moves himself up into 4th place. Bold move, beautiful move, whatever you would call it. That was absolutely clinical. And he's now going to try and chase after Iceman. And now the coach is going to have to settle for P5. So he has Underdog behind him. Same with Echo and Frizy. Because right now, your podium runners are Stig, Gert, and Iceman. If you saw that as being contenders for the podium, I would not have believed you, but here we are. As the sun is starting to come out, as you can see, and Underdog's made a bit of a mistake there, went a little bit wide there, and that's going to allow Echo to have a look, bit of contact between the two, and Echo seems to have made the move in the upper tire, and he has! Echo moves himself up into 6th place. That's probably not where he expected to make a move, but he's made the move nonetheless, and Echo has now put himself up into 6th. He's going to try chase after the coach, and the coach falling away from Koenigsegg. Koenigsegg closing in on 3rd place as it stands at the moment. And well, that grip of the mediums and the pure speed of that Aston Martin is clearly working out for him. He's closing in on Iceman. It's not going to be enough, though, by the time they reach the chicane. But if he gets a really good exit, he could have a shot through the next couple of corners. As actually Iceman goes a little bit deep. And I think that's exactly what Koenigsegg would have wanted. As Stig has the fastest lap. As Iceman goes a little bit wide. Is Underdog and Echo going at it now. Koenigsegg and Iceman going at it. This is for the podium. Can Koenigsegg make the move on Iceman on the inside? He backs out of it. He's going to have to stay behind for another lap. He definitely thought about it, though. So Iceman able to hold on to 3rd place at the moment. Koenigsegg in 4th. Underdog was able to get ahead of Echo and is now going to potentially look for a move onto Coach. He's thinking about it, moving all over, and he actually gets it done on the inside. That was a bit dirty. Dirty is in, like, well, robbing him, basically, a P5, and that's not the place you've seen overtaking. He's done exactly that. And now Underdog moved himself up into 5th place, and now the Coach down into 6th. So Underdog just playing it smart, and it's worked out beautifully for him. And now Echo's going to be having a look onto Coach. Bit of contact between the Red Bull and the Mercedes, but luckily nothing happening, and it's in the wall! They're both in the wall! That's the Coach out of the race, and that's Frizy in the wall, Echo in the wall, and that's going to be a virtual safety car, now a full safety car. What is going on here in the Japanese Grand Prix? Echo, surprisingly, doesn't have any damage. Frizy has completely lost his front wing. And Daniel, you're absolutely spot on. That is 5 safety cars here in the Japanese Grand Prix. And Stig, clearly seeing that 5th, is saying enough is enough. He's gone on to a set of soft compound tire. Gert, however, stays out. Gert staying out and taking the lead of the Japanese Grand Prix. So from one Alfa Romeo to another, I guess you could say, Gert now is going to lead us to the safety car from Koenigsegg. Then comes Stig. So now, from 3rd down to 7th, are all going to be set on a soft compound of tire. Oh, we're going to have something tasty, aren't we? We are going to have a very tasty end of this race. Uncommon Gert L. Well, I wouldn't say that entirely. If he can stay ahead of Koenigsegg, by the time this race resumes, I don't think there's going to be DRS. I don't think DRS is going to be a factor here. So, Gert might be a little bit smart here. Maybe. What do you miss while getting a drink? Well, we saw a crazy collision between the coach and Echo, which saw the coach out of the race, Frizy losing his front wing, Echo in the wall, but surprisingly not getting any front wing damage, but the coach is out of the race. We now have 6 DNFs here in the Japanese Grand Prix. And well, Daniel on your turn says exactly that. You missed, well, not everything, but a lot. You definitely missed a lot. But Gert now leads this race from Koenigsegg, from Stig, from Iceman, Underdog, Echo, and Frizy. Championship-wise, obviously it will go down to the United States Grand Prix, but it's just a matter of what Underdog scores here, because if he stays here at the moment, the gap between him and Gary will be 86 points. Stig did not want to fight through traffic. I absolutely agree, and I do not blame you for that one bit. So Gert going to lead this race, and Echo's actually gone straight into the pits once again. So Echo opting to go on to another set of the soft compounded tire. And actually, no, it's more than just that. He's actually getting a front wing change. And a bit of a, well, they forgot to replace the end plates. So what's going on? Those mediums should be able to hold Stig off. Maybe. We'll see. Safety car, I think, should be in on this lap, so we are going to have a total of 3 laps of racing, and the chances of safety cars are going to be absolutely 0. And there you have it, safety car in this lap. So 3 laps of racing. Gert on the mediums, 12-lap mediums. Koenigsegg also on mediums, 6 laps on those tires. They can still do a decent amount. Stig on the soft, same with Iceman, Underdog, Frizy, and Echo. So, the top 2 have a lot of work to do as Gert is gone. Gert has completely gone, and now on lap 25 of this Grand Prix, the race has officially resumed. It's Gert from Koenigsegg, from Stig, though Stig is looking for a move on the Aston Martin. He's already going to get the move done into turn 1. No, Koenigsegg's trying to hold it off. He's trying to go around the outside into turn 2, but the grip of the mediums, the grip of the softs is just a little bit too much, and Stig takes second place of the race, and now has an easy shot of taking P1. Gert tried something. It looks like it hasn't worked out for the Alfa Romeo. Koenigsegg down to third. Underdog down to fourth. I mean, oh, sorry, not down to fourth. He's up to fourth, as Iceman's actually had a bit of a moment. I'm not sure what's happened there, as Echo's also up into fifth as well. It's a bit of swapping in the safety car restart, but it looks like nothing's happened. And Stig could be looking for a move on Gert here through the spoon curve on the inside. Gert's trying to look for it, and he's trying to keep around the outside, but there's nothing he can do. Stig takes the lead of the Japanese Grand Prix on lap 25 of this race, and that looked to be a pretty easy move, and now he's going to try and pull away for the rest of the pack as Koenigsegg's now closing in on Gert. Gert, though, could be having a bit of a challenge on Stig once again. Could he think about it? He's not going to do anything yet. Koenigsegg, actually, that is Underdog and Echo going off the track. I think Echo might have made contact between himself and the AlphaTauri, and well, that's Underdog off the track, and he's now down into fifth. Echo down to fourth, and now second place going to be well contested is Koenigsegg and Gert going at it. Gert, though, able to stay ahead around the outside, seemed to work out pretty well for the Alfa Romeo. So now Stig pulling away from Gert, from Koenigsegg, from Echo. And, well, the battle for the podium places is going to be second down to fourth, maybe even fifth, if Underdog could have a little bit of a look. We'll have to see. And actually, looking at it, we're not going to have DRS at all, as DRS is not going to be activated until, well, it's going to be activated on lap 27, but it's not going to be in use until the next lap. And, well, there's only 27 laps of racing, so in other news, we're not going to get any at all. So, with that, Stig pulling away from the rest of the pack. That seems to be done, dusted for him. And Gert trying to hold off Koenigsegg. Can he do it? Can he hold off the Aston Martin, the Mercedes, the AlphaTauri, and maybe even the Ferraris? The Ferrari's a bit of a ways behind, but they're finally getting a decent amount of points, those two. About time for Ferrari to get some decent points. We'll see if they can hold on to it. Because they're actually past the 90%, so they're definitely getting 6th and 7th, at least. But we'll have to see what happens on the final lap of this Japanese Grand Prix. One final tour. Stig sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, and now on the final lap, could second and third be swapped around as Koenigsegg's trying to go around the outside. Gert manages to hold off. Gert able to hold off. Now, if he can just keep it together, he has a shot of grabbing P2. Can he do it? Can he keep that Aston Martin FA? You can see the Aston Martin all over the wing mirrors of that Alfa Romeo. He's not able to do anything. You can't find an overtaking spot around here, so he's going to have to stay behind. Meanwhile, fourth could also be contended as well, as Underdog is closed on to Echo now. As they're coming around the final couple of corners, then Yortster trying to cheer on Zig. Zig is very close to making a move, but he's not able to do anything. Gert trying to use everything he can to pull away from that Aston Martin, and he might have done it. He just needs to get through a couple of corners. But we go from third over to first. Stig, bit of a topsy-turvy Japanese Grand Prix. It's been a chaotic Japanese Grand Prix, and Stig, above the odds, comes around the final couple of corners. He seems to be pushing for fastest lap, actually, but Stig has managed to survive everything. He's managed to keep it round and comes around the final corner. Stig takes the win here at the Japanese Grand Prix and takes the fastest lap for good measure. He keeps his title chances just hanging on. He just hangs on to his championship. Gert will take his second podium of the season. It's been a long time coming, but the Alfa Romeo has taken second. Koenigsegg will take third, ahead of Underdog from Echo, and then Frizy and Iceman are finishers of the Japanese Grand Prix. Stig gets driver of the day, wins the race, fastest lap. No better way to open it, and, well, my apologies. No better way to end it than to win the Japanese Grand Prix. And there you have it. Stig wins the Japanese Grand Prix. And he does the gritty. There you go. He does the gritty. Not a fan of that, but here we are. He's done it. And Gert, well, you got to give it to Gert. He managed to put himself in a good position, and he takes his second podium of the season. Koenigsegg, the pole sitter, not able to do anything, but the championship will go down to the United States Grand Prix as underdog will gain 12 points on the championship leader, Stig, 26. As I shall now invite the drivers for their podium interviews. But it's Stig that wins the Japanese Grand Prix from Gert, from Koenigsegg. And well, in case you didn't see it, Stig also took the driver of the day as well. It's simply lovely, as Max Verstappen would say, and I'm pretty sure he would say the same. Underdog takes fourth ahead of Echo, Frizy, and Iceman, rounding out our points finishers to Coach, Quick Tongue, and Redeemer, unable to finish in the points. Arabian Kirlak and Kieran unable to finish as well. And the championship leader, Gary, unable to finish this Grand Prix. Championship implications, but it's exactly what Underdog and Stig wanted as they keep their championship hopes alive for another round. And with that, we already have our drivers for podium interviews. So, drivers, why don't you include your audio, and we'll quickly get this underway. Koenigsegg, third place. Obviously, it was a topsy-turvy Japanese Grand Prix, and, well, at one point, you were looking for a shot of the win, and, well, a lot of things happened. Nonetheless, though, you managed to grab onto a podium place. Not exactly the win, but it's still pretty good. Tell us what your thoughts were on that race.
What's disappointing is I know I had the fastest race pace, but I took a gamble on the hard compound, and it would have paid off if that safety car right after I switched to hards had not come out, because everyone else would have stayed out on inters and the track dried out, so I would have had a full pit stop gap almost, but that safety car put me in a compromising position. That last one, I thought about going on softs, but then I figured if I could just, at the restart, stay ahead, I could keep him behind because I was faster through the S's. And the exit out of Spoon, that's where I had a lot of grip there, but no straight line speed. I was running too much wing. It is what it is. Stig and Gert made good calls. They got a better result.
Yeah, just simply, things just didn't quite turn out the way you wanted to. But nonetheless, though, you fought hard, and you fought hard enough to take third place. And just looking at it, that's actually your fifth podium in every race that you've taken in a row. So I would bet you're pretty happy about that. Next week, United States Grand Prix. There's only 4 races left in this championship. All right, just going to try and maximize results and just try and take as much as you can. What are your thoughts going into the ending of this season?
That's not my strong track, so I don't know. I love Japan, Monaco, you know. US have always done pretty poorly, so I'm not. A podium would be nice.
It would be indeed. We'll just have to see in just a week's time. Once again, congratulations to you on your third place. Hard fought, and despite things not working your way, and you still managed to grab it. With that, we'll move over to second place of the Japanese Grand Prix. And, well, it's been a while since we talked to this man, but here we are again. Gert, second place. That gamble on the last safety car seemed to pay off pretty well. It wasn't quite the win, but you managed to hold off everyone behind you, and you managed to take second place of the season in a day where it looked like Alfa Romeo was looking pretty good. But, well, you still managed to convert, and, well, second place. Tell us what your thoughts on that race.
It's a bit interesting to start with the rain, but yeah, it was fun at the end there with Koenigsegg and Stig. I'm just glad I didn't get bumped with Stig on the softs going around me right at the end there, because I mean I was on pretty warm mediums there, and that last safety car saved my butt. But it's good to be back up here, and yeah, maybe I can get another one before one of these last few races of the season.
Well, hopefully that'll be the case. And by the way, I just gonna quickly say this: your last podium was 10 races ago.
I know.
The Australian
But
Grand
hey,
Prix.
I'm back here now, so who knows?
Indeed, you are back once again, and I can clearly tell you're pretty happy about that. Once again, congratulations on second place. Next week, home Grand Prix for you, United States Grand Prix. What are your thoughts going into that race?
Kind of like it's not my favorite, but a little bit of practice can go a long way. I mean, there's still some fast people in this lobby. I'm not sure, but it's okay. It's there's some other better tracks on the calendar for sure, but we'll see.
I'll name 3 more: Mexico, Brazil, Abu Dhabi. Which ones are you looking forward to?
I would say Brazil for sure. That's probably the one. Yeah, I like that one.
Where Kevin Magnussen took pole. Gotcha.
Yeah, maybe I'll talk to you then.
We'll see. Well, that'll be in like 3 weeks' time, but nonetheless, we'll just have to see. But yeah, once again, congratulations to you on second place. That gamble seemed to pay off. And actually, I'm just gonna quickly say this: Redeemer did the same thing back in season 7. He took the win. You took second place. Is that like an Alfa Romeo, is that like an Alfa Romeo big brain? What's going on there?
No, I wouldn't say that. It's just, it made sense. I mean, I underfueled as well, actually, a decent amount. So, I mean, out of 27 laps, I only had 25 laps of fuel. So, that definitely, I think, played into my favor as well with pace. And, yeah, leave it at that. Can't give away too many secrets.
The Alfa Romeo trade secret no one's allowed to know.
Exactly.
We'll leave it at that. Once again, congratulations to you.
Thanks, bud.
On second place. With that, we'll move over to the winner of the Japanese Grand Prix. And, well, it was a bit of a roller coaster race from you, to put it simply. But Stig, once again, taking the win. It's your 4th win of the season. And, well, this one must feel pretty nice, because with Gary not finishing this race, which, by the way, his first DNF and his first non-points finish this season, keeps your title hopes in contention. You're in contention still. It's a long ways, but you're still there. Stig, tell us your thoughts on that race, and tell us, is it going to be possible to catch Gary?
First off, I think I can catch Gary. Plain and simple. With a bit of luck. But,
well, you would hope that Gary would DNF again. That's basically what you're saying.
But, yeah, I saw the rain, and I instantly dreaded it, because I barely practiced this track all week. Because I hate this track. But, yeah, when Gary spun, he didn't ghost at first, and I almost ran straight into him.
Yeah, I was just looking on board at that. He didn't ghost. You're absolutely right on that. He didn't ghost on my end, so
yeah,
that was a bit close.
Yeah, me and Gert almost ran straight into him. But me, Gert, and the coach were all strategizing together, and we're flipping out trying to figure out when to pit for softs or to pit for slicks. But just being fast, being consistent, being really good on safety car restarts, and winner.
Yeah, you had to make everything work in the end, and that exactly you did. You take your 4th win of the season. Next week, home Grand Prix for you, United States Grand Prix, and after Gary DNFing in this race and you taking the win, and also now holding on to second place in the Drivers' Championship, how do you think this is going to go coming next week?
US. Good track for me, I'd say, even though it's an SS section, and I struggle with those. It's more flat, so I think I can be able to hold it through there. And we'll just see next week how I do.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to see in just a week's time. By the way, this is your 4th podium in a row, and, well, 3 out of the 4 of those have been wins. Where has this come from? If we had this at the start of the season, this would have been a bit of a crazier championship battle, I think.
Yeah. I don't know. I just gained a bunch of momentum from Canada, and I'm still carrying it somehow.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
That's a pretty good run, man. I think
it is.
All you need is Gary to not finish every single remaining race, and you to win. And
I think
that's the title.
I think we might bring it down to a 2020 if he doesn't finish every race. Or 2021.
Yeah.
We'll be
That'll be
even on
tasty.
points.
Mercedes against Red Bull. I
Oh,
wonder
not
where
again.
we've heard that before. I wonder. Nonetheless, though, once again, congratulations on your win of the Japanese Grand Prix, and congratulations to Gert and Koenigsegg on 2nd and 3rd place, respectively. With that, that wraps up the Japanese Grand Prix here for Tier 3. Be sure to tune in tomorrow, though, for Tier 1 and Tier 2, and then on Sunday, we've got ACC once again, so be sure to tune into that if you want to see some GT3 racing. Then, next week, it's a home race for many, and it's a home for Breakout Racing League. That's right, Japanese Grand Prix at Circuit of the Americas. Be sure to tune in. It's going to be an exciting race, I can tell you that right here, right now. But, from me, that is everything. Good day, good night. See you tomorrow for Tier 1 and 2. And crucially, see you next week for the United States Grand Prix.